Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Lauren K. Wyatt, and you know me from Love Renegades and my psychic readings and coaching that are all about the illusions of relationship. Well, there's something new I want to add in, and this is my work with animals and pets. So if you have a pet, if you love animals, if you love everything mystical and spiritual and love looking at underneath everything, I think you're really going to enjoy this special video that my friend Colleen is supporting me in creating. Colleen is a dear and precious friend of mine. And she's also a fellow intuitive and coach and energy healer as well. So we're going to go deep into her experience with her cat, Jake, and my role as the pet psychic healer. And we're just going to see where this goes. Welcome, Colleen. Hi.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Jake has been such a teacher for me, and you have been such a tremendous help. So I'm really excited to have this conversation so that others can hear as well.
Oh my gosh, me too. So what was going on with Jake? What is going on with Jake?
Yes. So Jake, we rescued Jake from an animal shelter, I think 4 years ago. And it was like everything was great initially. And then he started peeing specifically on my daughter's bed and then also on the couch downstairs. So there were a couple spots, but he was peeing regularly. And if anyone has ever had a cat and they've peed somewhere, like, the smell is like, it's like horrible. It's like a horrible smell. So I was getting curious of like, okay, what is going on here? I had reached out to an animal communicator, had someone come to our house, switched up the litter boxes and things like that. And it was like, okay for a little bit. And then he just started peeing again. And it was going on for a very long time, for like months. There were times when we had considered, like, do we need to have him rehomed? Like, there was all these things happening. And then you really were shifting and really stepping into and owning your gifts with animals and healing and the psychic communication. And so that is when I hired you, because I was at my wit's end of like, I know, like we had gotten them checked at the vet. So like, we knew there were no medical issues happening. I'm like, what is happening here? And what came through was like mind blowing. Right. So the healing that the psychic healing that you had done was so deep and so spot on. And it made so much sense. So Jake wanted to be an indoor outdoor cat, and we had been kind of holding him hostage as an indoor cat because that is all I had ever known. I had a cat growing up for like my whole childhood, and she was an indoor cat. And so that was all I knew. So looking back, it made so much sense because Jake had always tried to get out. Like, it was this huge kind of comical thing that anytime anyone was leaving the house, Jake would try to get out the door. So in hindsight, I was like, oh my gosh, he was giving us so many clues. And like, I couldn't see them at the time until the reading.
Oh my gosh. So it was just really fun getting to talk with you about it, because I think most of us who are pet owners, we have these moments with our pets where we're like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
totally.
Like, just like, and then there's also like the fear, are they okay? Because they're in our care. And it's also just that frustration, like, because like you said, when cats are peeing, it's just, the smell is kind of unbearable.
Absolutely. And it was like ruining like mattresses. Like, we had to get new mattresses. Anyways, it was like, it was so disheartening because I didn't know what to do differently. I knew something had to change, but I had no idea what until I hired you.
And that was so fun. I remember when I did Jake's healing. So just for those of you who are curious how I work with pets, it's a similar way how I work with people and some of my services, which I thought was really cool. But I tune in with the pet. So Colleen lives in Massachusetts. I live in Texas. I did not fly out to Massachusetts to work with Jake. I did it in this room that you see right now. So I tuned in with Jake psychically, as I do all of my clients that I work with, and his essence and voice really came through. And I don't micromanage what comes through. I type out what the animal's saying, what their animal guides are saying, which I call these guides fairies, because I know, like, you may laugh at me for believing in fairies, but I totally do. And fairies, they connect us with nature. They're often guardians for animals, for children, even for people who care about the environment. So it's something that I've been connected with. So I just get in there and some wild stuff comes up. And it's always amazing when the animal's voice and their essence comes through. And I just remember feeling like Jake is really, really sassy. Like,
totally. So sassy. And we were keeping him imprisoned. Like, he was so pissed off, hence pissing all over the place.
Yeah, like, he was like, these fuckers aren't getting it. Like, let me the fuck out. And
totally.
He was really, I don't have the report in front of me right now. And I guess it doesn't really matter, but just what came through, it was just so clear to me that this cat needed to be outside. And that was his desire. And my cats have been up until now predominantly indoors as well. But just what I learned from Jake, I was just like, oh my God, like, some of these beings are imprisoned because we're imposing our own fears onto them, and all this stuff about, like, you're not a good cat owner. They don't live as long as if they go outside. And it's just like, well, what kind of a life is living in confinement?
100%. And you're touching on the exact fears that I had, which was, what if I let him out and something happens to him? And then it was like, I'm going to feel terrible. But then from that report that you sent, it was like, wait a second. Actually, Jake feels terrible right now being confined. So what kind of life is that? So let's say if he were to live 20, it's so funny. Jake just showed up here. He just brushed by my leg.
Amazing.
He was like totally dead.
Get on camera.
He was so asleep. Anyways, so he's coming apparently to say hi, or maybe he wants to go outside. He's coming to tell me.
Well, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
If you need to take a break to just let him out, I'll just talk to the camera. So
we'll see. Right now he's going for some food, but
okay.
So it was like, okay, so if he lives, let's say 20 years or so in a house versus, let's say 10 years, but he's roaming free and does like what he wants, what kind of life would you want to have? And it was so clear to me. It was like, well, I would rather be free even if that means I'm living, quote unquote, less of a period of time, but I'm living fully.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh. So from Jake's healing that he had, and from some other cats I've gotten to work with, namely our newest addition to the family, Gabelina, who she was from the neighborhood. She was indoor, outdoor, and her other residents, her family members got sick. One of them passed away, and she was just kind of abandoned. And we were feeding her, and I was just like, I need this cat in my life, and just creating that trust with her. And I told her, honey, I want you to know this is your home. We promise to take care of you, and I will not make you stay indoors, but I want you indoors at night and when the weather is not great. I want you to know that you're here, that we're your family. Like, our two dogs, our other cat, and my husband and me.
Yes.
So what these two cats, Jake and Gabelina, and a couple other cats I've worked with, what I've discovered is that they hold the codes of freedom. Most cats do. Like, they bring forth this freedom, and they can show us, like, scaredy cat, like a cat that's really scared is not, like, they're showing us the polarity of freedom.
Yes.
Just, it goes so deep on how cats really resonate with people who have, like, some sort of freedom about them, and who aren't attached to how that, I mean, whatever. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, if you think of the essence of at least the cats I've been around, they do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like,
Mhm.
if they want to come and cuddle, like Jake can come and cuddle and be the sweetest, most loving, and like just want to like nudge his head like into you to pet him and things like that. And then the second he's done, he's like, get the fuck away. And like, he either jumps away or he'll like try to like not bite you, but just kind of like say, hey, that's enough. I'm done for now.
Boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries. Exactly. Yes. So it's such, there's so many lessons that I've learned from Jake about where was I confining myself, and where can I be more like Jake? And really the process of really stepping into this and allowing this to happen, of like him going outside, I started slowly with letting him go out for like 10 minutes, and I was outside with them, and anyways, and then we progressed. But it was really a lesson of trust for me, because I had so much anxiety. I'm like, what if he doesn't know where he is and gets lost? And like, I had all of these things going through my mind, and I just got to a point finally where I was like, you know what, I'm going to completely let go, and I'm going to trust. And it every single time he comes in, like, it's just been this huge, I think, awakening within me as well, to sink more into trust in my life.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So what I'm noticing, and what I've seen in in Jake's, I was going to say in your healing, Colleen, because really every person who gets a report about their beloved animal, like, they're receiving a lot of healing transmission as well.
Totally.
Right.
Yes.
Our pets are a mirror of us. So if there's like a behavioral issue or a health issue that's happening, or like whatever it is, that is, and a lot of people would be like, oh no, that's bullshit. But those people aren't the ones who are going to get the most out of this kind of healing. So I really want to make that clear, because the people who've had like the most success, I would say, with their pets, they're people who are intuitive, who are mystically inclined, who are having a kind of coaching conversation with themselves, who are on a path of growth. And I find that there's just more of a capacity to receive, like, to fully receive the healing, and then to see your pet as not something that you own. Can you believe that people see
Right.
that? Just like, Colleen, I remember when I was in first grade and we're learning like grammar and what a noun is, and the teacher said, a noun is a person, place, or thing. And I said, well, what about an animal? It's like, no, just person, place, thing, or idea. And I was, what about an animal? That's a thing. No, it's fucking not. That is a divine being
Wow.
in a different form.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's right. So clearly at a young age, you had this connection to animals.
always, like
Yeah.
this, from like my grandparents on my dad's side, and just always just having an understanding of them. And just, it always bewildered me why other people didn't see that. But then, of course, I've stepped into my uniqueness, and I see that I really do see things differently than most people.
Absolutely.
And you do as well, Colleen. Like, you're an intuitive and an energy healer, and you said that trust and new levels of freedom were awakened in you from Jake. So could you kind of talk about that with specifics about how you like your journey and how you connect with people on their own healing in this conversation, if that question makes sense?
Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying. So, I think I want to start with saying, like, there are no coincidences. Like, we go to an animal shelter and pick my daughter chooses Jake. And so from the mindset of, there are no coincidences. There's, this is all related. We're all connected. We all have things to teach each other. And with Jake, it just has been so much expansion in not only being able to connect with him on a whole different level, like, we have just built this deep trust that I feel, where it's like he felt listened to, he felt seen and heard. Right? Like, you finally get it. I just want to go outside and be free. Even if he goes, like, we have a dog, a golden retriever, Izzy. So Izzy will go and sit on the front steps. Sometimes he just goes and sits right next to her. It's like the cutest thing. Sometimes it's like, he's like, I just want to why does she get to go outside and I don't get to go outside? Like, I think it just was like bewildering to him of, what was happening here. So, I always liked animals. I definitely never had the same connection with animals that you do, but through this experience, I feel like such a deep connection with Jake. And I feel like there's a level of trust that has been built. And also really recognizing, like I shared with you earlier, like, he ended up peeing on my daughter's bed this morning. And
The day that I'm interviewing you,
right. And he hadn't done it in months.
and you had the healing for him in what, July or June or something?
I know.
2021.
It was early. It was early over the summer. So we had really gone months with nothing. But what I was realizing in our conversation too, is that it's not, I think in the past I would have been like, oh, well, this, like, this is somehow something failed, or I didn't do something right. But instead it was like, oh, let me lean into a deeper connection with him and see, like, what message is he trying to share with me, instead of making it like wrong, of like, bad kitty, you don't pee, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know the message yet of what was going on for him this morning.
Shall we? Maybe I could tune in. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me
do it.
Jake says that he senses that Maya feels a little boxed in.
That makes sense.
He says that that Maya's Colleen's daughter, by the way, for
Yeah.
everyone watching. Jake peed on Maya's bed. He says that Maya's been very wimpy lately. And
He's been what?
wimpy.
Wimpy. Oh, okay.
And that he doesn't like her feeling that way. And he wants her to acknowledge and express her anger.
Mm. That
So
makes a
he's
lot of
giving
sense.
her an opportunity.
Like he was calling attention to, hey, there's something here.
Yeah.
Right. Like, which is why he went to her bed and nowhere else in the house.
Yes.
Okay.
He says Maya's his favorite person and he's willing for her to get mad at him.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I think I know exactly what he's talking about, like what she's upset about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Jake. Thank you,
Mm.
thank you for that. We bless you. So to this, what we're talking about, I want to showcase you for a minute and
Mm.
like the brilliant work that you do with families and relationships, specifically like with kids or
Mm.
the healing work and all of that. Could you just talk about that a little?
Yeah. Yes. So I'm really passionate about empowering women, moms to heal their past trauma, to look at, like, let's be honest, we all have trauma, like
Yeah, we do.
in one way or another, even if it was from well-intentioned parents. We all have things that we've experienced that have deeply impacted us in some way. And as you know, then we've created stories about ourselves, about our value, about what we need to do to be loved and accepted by others, that have skewed us and brought us away from the truth and prevented us from really loving and accepting ourselves. So what I do is really help and support and empower women to look at these experiences, to heal from them, to move through the emotions that may be trapped inside of them, that can free them from the patterns of anxiety, of people pleasing, of silencing your voice, of dimming your light, so that you can really show up in a powerful way and break generational trauma
Wow.
that we've passed down to our children and modeled to our children from the experiences we've had, to really be, what's called like the cycle breaker, where it's the trauma stops with us and how we show up for ourselves and for our children, just to create a completely different trajectory for their lives and our lives.
Oh my gosh. That is so, so powerful. And you know what? I really like what's coming through right now is I really see why Jake chose your family, even though like it looked like Maya choosing him, like it's all like this magnetic attraction, because he's such, he stands for freedom so much. And even though he peed on Maya's bed, he's just like, we need to look at this. And he trusts you that you're going to see this and really move this forward into your work and also within yourself and your own family. And I'm just kind of blown away right now.
I am too. I'm actually like pretty emotional, just like with you saying all of that. And yeah, like he chose us, and yeah, I am receiving that on a very deep level. And he's a very powerful healer. He is a very powerful healer.
And you know what, like with your style, Colleen, just being your friend and just knowing like a bit about how you work and like experience your process, like you're kind of going to go take a piss on someone's bed to bring something to their attention.
That is, yes, that's exactly, and that's why, that's exactly how I think sometimes clients can experience it, is like, because I think we sometimes we need to be jarred. Sometimes we need to have our beds pissed on in
Right.
order to see the things that we've been doing and make a change, which is
like, do you want, like, so that, I mean, and you're really like an amazing change catalyst for people, and just the way you work, it's like very like strong. And I've always noticed just like the work that you've done with emotions and how you can like really hold that intensity and have those tough conversations. So for any of you watching who like really vibe with that, and if there's a part of you that's like, I fucking need someone to take a piss in my bed, like I need someone to bring my attention to things, like if you're vibing with that, like she's definitely someone to reach out to about that.
I love that. That should be my tagline. If you're ready to piss on my, I love that so much.
This is Colleen and I, like we just like all day long, like we're just in conversation about just like these types of musings. So and for your pets, if you really want to know what your pet's message is for you, what's underneath everything, like please, like I would love to support you with that. I love bringing things to people's attention, especially as it goes with like the animal human relationship and with all of our healing. And so
if you're, I can't just stress highly enough how amazing your healings are, how just very clear and powerful, and just it's changed our whole life. Really seeing Jake, like before I just felt like I was in it was like a victim energy about the peeing,
Of course.
Right.
I mean, that sucks.
Right. It totally sucks. But the whole transformation of really seeing like what was really happening and just so much that's come to light is just such it's just been such a place of going into empowerment and seeing that our pets are not like trying to be inconvenient or being bad, or, it's like they love us so much that they want us to heal. And if you're having an experience with your pets where you're like, I don't know what's happening, I just think reach out to Lauren immediately, because don't waste, like the only regret I have is not doing this sooner, but
all the mattresses,
but it's okay because now we've got it. So I just can't recommend you enough.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, same. So Colleen, tell people how they can find you.
Yes. So my website is believegrowshine.com. And maybe we can put this
I'll put it in the description.
And I'm loving Instagram lately. So I'm at Colleen Suchecki. Maybe we can put that in there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those would be the best ways to reach out to me.
Awesome. Yeah. And my website is loverenegades.com, and you can find out more about the pet psychic healings there. And my pet psychic Instagram is Pet Psychic Healer. So very, very easy. And we're just so grateful. Thank you for spending time with us today.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on. I loved this conversation so
So
much.
much fun. There's a lot of gems in this.
Totally.
All right. Bye, friends.
Bye.